Hello, everybody, and welcome back. That was some really heated Valorant action, but we're here to cool it down and chat a little bit about diversity and inclusion in esports, especially when it comes to women and people of marginalized genders in the space. My name is Wigloff. I'll be your moderator and your host, and I use they, them pronouns. Um, we're going to kick it to the rest of our panelists to introduce themselves as well, starting with Yuka.
Hi guys, it's actually pronounced Juka, which is it's funny. It's a made up name. My real name is Judy, but I do go by Juka, and my pronouns are she and her. And yeah, I'm super excited to be here.
We'll pass it to Ashley next.
Hi, y'all just saw me casting Valorant with my amazing casters, but my name is Ashley. You can call me Miss Ash, Ash, whichever works. I go by she, her pronouns. I've been streaming on Twitch since 2016 December, so I've been in the industry for a very long time. I'm excited to talk about all things today, diversity, inclusion, and thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being with us. We're going to pass it to Kit then as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Kit. I also go by Resley. I am a project manager at Radeon. Radiant's a production company, and we primarily focus on putting on tournaments, broadcasts, content initiatives, live events that support women and marginalized genders in gaming. And I am super excited to be a part of this panel and here with everyone today.
And finally, we have Ivy.
Right. Hello, my name is Ivy. I go by she, her pronouns. I usually go by Storyfern online. I'm a second-year intended computer science major at UC Berkeley, and in general, just a really big part of the collegiate and game development scene here. And this year, I am one of the co-presidents of Cal Marginalized Genders in Gaming, or CMGG.
Well, we're excited to have everybody here with a diverse background in terms of both industry and operations and events versus content and tournament organization. And with that, we're going to kick it off into our first question here, which is, what are some of your favorite success stories when it comes to women and marginalized genders in esports? And that could be at the collegiate, it could be at the professional, it could be at the amateur level. So we're going to kick it over to Kit first, since Radeon, as we know, is a major tournament organizer in that space.
Sure. Yeah. I feel like I've been really lucky to see a lot of success stories and journeys kind of build from beginning to where they are now throughout my time in esports. I actually got started with a community called Galahad, some of you might know. And we would run just, community tournaments back in like 2020, 2021. And I remember there was a team called Built Butter. Just a bunch of friends who wanted to play together. They eventually got picked up by like a community org called Moon Raccoons, and they competed in the very first VCT Game Changers, and they blew everyone away. They were the only unsigned team to reach the top 8, the only team to give C9 White, the kind of reigning champions, a run for their money. Everyone was like, who are these girls? We need to sign them. And they got signed to a team that we would come to know as Shopify Rebellion. So I've really seen, and we saw them at Champs. They, I think, came in second place World Championships for Game Changers last year. So I've really seen how people can grow from beginning to, really top tier competition within the scene because of these initiatives. We have Calling All Heroes, that's a newer initiative, but we have plenty of teams that have gotten picked up by orgs through that. A bunch of up and coming talent who have had their first experiences on official Overwatch broadcasts because of that. CB is an amazing caster. If you aren't paying attention to her, go give her a follow. An amazing Overwatch caster who's starting to get more involved in Calling All Heroes as well. I could go on and on. These initiatives are so important, and I'm so lucky to see so many amazing success stories.
And
Do I go next?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're having this in an open conversation, so I mean,
Yeah.
I would love to hear, your experience as well.
Yeah, I think I'm very honored and grateful I get to play in these tournaments myself. I played in Valorant tournaments from different companies that have hosted them, but I did want to touch on VCT Game Changers. It's been awesome seeing marginalized genders come together, play, and everyone supporting them. Having a watch parties on Twitch that do phenomenal. And I got to do that last year with the VCT Game Changers. So it meant a lot to me to show that to my community and get to promote that. So that's been incredible to be involved in. And of course, with eFuse and doing the Fortnite tournament for marginalized genders as well, doing just the zero build tournament or the build tournament. It's been awesome to be a part of that too. I know I got to do interviews last year, interviewing some of the team captains, and it's just awesome to be backed by these big brands like Epic and Riot and so forth to produce the content to promote us in a space and give us a spotlight to be able to show that we belong in a space just as much as everybody else and we deserve to have this space. So I'm very honored, very grateful I get to work with Epic and Riot and everybody else. So I hope we get to see more and more brands, continue to do that and host these tournaments to allow us to shine.
Yeah, I guess adding on to that, Game Changers definitely has been really awesome to see. I guess in a similar note, CMGG is actually starting our own marginalized gender Valorant team this year. I think we're still in the process of getting it together, setting everything up, but hopefully we'll be releasing more info about our players. So I think it's just really cool to see all of this, I guess just all of this introduction and creating spaces for people of marginalized genders in esports to get a chance to play.
This is really refreshing to see and hear. Can you guys please bring this over to the Apex Legends community? Because that's where I'm heavily involved, and I love seeing the support in the Valorant side. There's some of it in the Apex community, but it is all grassroots. It's other creators. It's a lot of people, just content creators that have to make this space for women and the other marginalized genders. But I'm Valorant. Y'all are doing a great job. I hope we can see more of that in the Apex side here soon.
I mean, I think you're doing a lot in a space yourself.
I am.
With your partners. So
I did. Yeah, we started hosting tournaments and kind of just fell into it. And, I'm sitting there competing when I was learning how to play. And I told my husband, I was like, wait, I'm the only woman playing in these tournaments. Why? These are just silly little tournaments. Why we have no other women that are playing? And so we made it a mandatory rule where if you wanted to play in our tournament, you have to have a woman on the team. And that's kind of how it started. It was a by chance thing, and then it grew into so much more. And then we had women only events, and it's been an amazing journey and process. But coming from humble beginnings, it's creators that have to create the space, because that's, we want to see a change. We want to see a difference. And I've seen some women go on to compete at the highest level now, and I'm just blown away at the talent. I didn't grow up in this industry. I didn't have esports as an option even in my college, in my university, as a potential career field. So just seeing the change over the last 5 years, just in my little involvement, it's been remarkable, and I'm super excited for the future and any young ladies that are watching now that are viewing this as a potential career field, because it is a great one, and you can really stand out if you do it right and you help pave the way for the other women.
I feel like these grassroots efforts are also they're not only fostering that space, but they're also then setting themselves up to grow into those more official venues as well, right? Because as more and more people join and the support builds, and then the investment starts to come in, whether that be through time or monetarily, then that's what kicks off, whether it be a production company, whether it be a career of content creation. I think that's a lot of people forget that's where it all starts, and that's where it all comes from, and that's honestly where esports came from in the beginning as well. And Ivy, you're going to chime in as well.
Yeah, also, Juka, I love your dog.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
He really cares about women in esports, and I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, I know. At the very least, there's been a lot of talk about starting a CMGG marginalized gender esports team since last year. I think we just started off with Valorant. I think especially in the light of like Game Changers and seeing all the support for it already. But we've definitely been talking behind the scenes about having like a CMGG League team. And I think this year there was like an unofficial like CMGG Overwatch team just because we had a bunch of members in our community who like just really loved the game and then found tournaments that they were interested in. And they were like, oh, what if we have like just get some people together in the server and play together? And I was like, oh, that's awesome. So I think like with time, hopefully we'll continue to establish better like rules and guidelines for how we set up these teams, and we can continue to expand into other games. Because I think it's really awesome, especially being able to like create these opportunities for others and see them like have so much fun playing together, or like see them play in tournaments.
And then not only do you have the team, but then as companies like Blizzard continue to invest in programs like Calling All Heroes, then that team has a venue to compete in. Not only a tournament that is a built for marginalized genders, but one that is really really competitive on top of that, and could even get airtime on the official Blizzard Twitch channel. And speaking as well about, we're talking a lot about these grassroots initiatives. Who are some of the members of your community that you're seeing benefit from these initiatives and these tournaments, and how are you seeing the benefits? What are just in general some of the benefits of these programs that you're seeing, whether that be skill sharing, or we talked a little bit already about the opportunity to compete and gain competitive skills as a player. So, and yeah, again, what are some of the benefits that we're seeing coming out of these programs, even if it's your own content community, or if it's your own a grassroots tournament or official tournament?
Yeah, I guess I'll just get started at this. I think besides like the CMGG Valorant team, I think uh, I will talk a lot about CMGG just because this is like a club that I like to say changed my life, honestly. I think something really awesome that we do is we have the CMGG mentorship program, which focuses around the gaming industry. When I came into college, I honestly was like, I think just with the pressure of how college administrations work now, it's like if you haven't been preparing for something your whole life, it feels like impossible to get into it. So I decided really late into kind of just like my academic career that like, wow, like I really like working with like computers. I really like game development, and this is something that I was like interested in. But I think up until this point, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I was like, okay, I guess I'll just do bio. And then coming to Berkeley, I just didn't really know what I wanted to do as a bio major. I wasn't really enjoying my classes. But in CMGG, I found out about this mentorship program that we have. It's really amazing. But we have mentors from all across like a bunch of different gaming companies. We have mentors from Riot, Bungie, Corsair, Blizzard, if you name it, we probably have someone. It's really awesome. But it's open to all college students. It's like a year-long program. You meet monthly with like your mentor, and it's a good chance to like ask questions about the industry, just to get to learn about the different jobs, because I think there's so much more to the gaming space than I think people are really aware of. At least when I came here, I thought gaming was like the two jobs where you were either a programmer or you were an artist, and I was like, okay. But then just finding out about like all these different roles, like production, tech, art. I guess just talking about this, I have a couple of friends who have like interned at some of these big companies, and we have a lot of CMGG alumni now who are actually working in the game industry, which I think is always so inspiring to see every single year, to know that like the work that we're doing in this program is helping others. And I know I had a friend of mine, who just signed up for the program for fun, paired with someone who is a tech artist, and then like completely learned the craft from there. And then she went on to intern, I think twice at Blizzard, and worked on Diablo 4, which was like really awesome to see.
That's amazing. And I think it makes me so excited to hear that you're doing stuff like that. And I think both these collegiate clubs and programs and community programs like what you're running, Chuka, all of this serves as sort of like case studies. I mean, like that sounds like an incredible impact, Ivy, that these mentors are having on students at your college. Um, so hopefully other colleges are paying attention. I'm sure the devs that are jumping in to mentor are paying attention and might suggest it to people. And I think these things kind of create a ripple effect. And hopefully devs are paying attention to things like the Apex tournaments you're running, Juka. Um, and hopefully, more funding, more opportunities all bloom from there. Nothing is ever too small, I think, in this space. Whatever you can do, it matters, and it's noticed and appreciated, and it will cause something else to happen that's positive. Even if you just are encouraging someone to stay in this space and keep working at a skill, you never know what that could just turn into, where they'll go. Yeah, so this is really wonderful to hear.
Yeah, I think for me, being a creator in a space and being a Black woman, it is hard to exist sometimes, but what fuels my fire is just inspiring the next little Black girl that wants to be in a space. And that's, well, I don't want to get emotional. Oh my.
No, you are so right.
I,
Role models, 100% role models are what's needed, and more role models to help inspire the other young women is
why am I
100% what's
crying?
needed. Because you're making an impact and you know it.
It matters.
Seriously.
No, I did a good job on my makeup. Okay, all right. That's my mission every single day, just to inspire little Black girls to get into this industry, because my mom has always pushed me. Why am I doing this right now? Always pushed me to inspire people and be there for others all the time. So, and I'm so grateful for all these big brands that support me, especially Xfinity, to support my goals. And I was so lucky to get Valorant casting training earlier this year with Xbox and Padia Gaming, and we did a whole entire 5-episode series, and it was published on YouTube. And it's just like, wow, you see a Black woman doing this, and you know you can do this too, because odds are always against us in all marginalized genders. But it just feels good to be in this space and have the privilege to just inspire. That's my number one goal. So I know my community, especially some Valorant players that are Black women as well, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that I can cast. I've never seen a Black woman cast Valorant. I'm like, wait, never? They're out there. They're doing it. They're doing the smaller tournaments. They're making their, they're bringing up, they're being brought up slowly but surely. But now that I get to do this more so, and I got to do it today for the 5 games, I'm like, I'm just going to take every opportunity so you can see me in the spotlight and know that you can do it too. So that's what I do. Every single day that I go live, I just want to show that Black women can be in a space, and it's going to be hard. People are going to be against you. It's going to be hard. So you have to brace yourself for the hate that you will get, but I don't let it stop me, because I know I have so many people that are supporting me. And of course, again, I just want women to feel involved and feel loved and involved in anything that they do. So yeah, I'm just very grateful I get to do all these things and cry on camera. It's super fun. But yeah, everything I do is just to let others know that they can be involved in it too. So I'm grateful for the Valorant casting. I'm grateful for this panel. I'm honored to be here, and they get to see me and they get to see all of us. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, going off of that, I mean, it's honestly, it's a really big deal, because for me, being a queer person, to seeing Kylie Gabor being invited to
Mhm.
the Apex
Rivals.
Studios
Mhm.
as a draft queen was a pretty
Mhm.
big moment for
Oh
me.
yes. Mhm.
With
I saw that.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's a big deal, because then it creates more opportunities, and those case studies that we were talking about for seeing both the value of the content that they're creating and the recognition of the work that they are putting out and doing for, in that case, the Apex community. So yeah, just echoing what you said there, it's really heartwarming to see, and then also creates an opportunity to then bring other people who are like part of that, or like who identify with that identity, is
Mhm.
really important.
Yeah, Apex has done a
Absolutely.
wonderful job of being extreme, as well as a lot of other games. I think I've heard a little bit again. Like, guys, my all I know is Apex. I want to diversify and learn more and learn other games, but I am so stuck in the Apex bubble. But I will learn Valorant one of these days. I play mouse and key. there's no reason why I shouldn't. Like I'm a rare mouse and key gamer on Apex. Like I should learn Valorant, but that'll be for another day in that community. But I've heard, and now that I have some wonderful contacts in the Valorant community and Overwatch as well, it's really nice to know the other panelists. Hi everyone, and I'm going to go follow you on all of the socials too, and make sure we stay connected after this. But this has been really, really cool to see. And yeah, Apex does a great job with the backstories of each character. And that's, I think, where some of the change is starting to happen for marginalized genders in general. And it's just to show how amazing and beautiful different legends and different characters can be, and share their backstory and share, every detail about them. And Apex has done a really good job of, they make sure when they had a trans woman as one of their most recent legends, and they talked a lot with the trans community to make sure all their I's were dotted, their T's were crossed, that they had everything correct, everything was going to be represented the way that they wanted it to be shown. They've done such a great job with every step of the way with each character. So things like that, seeing game developers becoming more inclusive with the characters, that's something that I know that is something that 5-10 years ago we probably didn't see that in games at all.
Especially when you have people of that identity actually making the games, let's say going through the CMGG mentorship program, then you're going to have more of those narratives being reflected in the lore of the online games that they end up being able to work on. So that is, it's a ripple effect that we really see across the talent pipeline, whether that be collegiate or amateur, or even just professional who decide to switch careers. And Ashley, you're going to add to that as well.
Yes, I was just gonna say, if you teach me Apex, I'll teach you Valorant.
Deal.
And that'll be a good
Same here.
Deal.
Good, perfect.
Squad
That's
up.
all.
Yeah.
Also, you're still valid as a mouse and keyboard player, because I play mouse and key. So we can both say that we're in it for the movement tech, right?
Oh yeah, that's it. Oh yeah. It's not that I just learned video games a few years ago and I don't know how to use a controller. It's the movement tech for sure.
Absolutely.
Running it down on Octane, doing your super glide wall bounces for the clip.
Oh yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I just wanted to hop in really quickly before we move on. Like, as Ashley was saying about like inspiring others, I think is like a really important part. Like you mentioned, the CMGG mentorship program, which is like trying to help more of those like underrepresented narratives, like kind of like, get into the scene, get into the industry, and be able to tell those stories on a greater scale. But I think something that's like been really inspiring to see. There's actually been a lot of new like marginalized gendered and gaming clubs. I think hopefully I don't miss any big ones, but I know there's UCSB marginalized genders in gaming. There's UCLA Gamers Without Labels. I believe there's also Women of UHE. These are just a couple of the marginalized gender clubs that have been popping up. I know Women at UHE. They actually have a Valorant team as well, a marginalized gender Valorant team as well. And I know UCSB, Marginalized Genders in Gaming, have actually started their own mentorship program recently. So I think it's just really awesome seeing these clubs like inspiring each other, learning from each other, and then just like continuing to build this network. Because I think these clubs are really important, and it's like especially getting like more people who are like underrepresented in gaming involved in gaming and the esports scene and just overall in the game industry.
Yeah, I think those communities are vital because, like we kind of touched on earlier, there's a lot of challenges you'll face when you don't fit the kind of stereotypical mold of this industry. So having that support net is vital. I still rely on some of the folks that I was with on like day one. I think I started as like just a Discord server mod, and like quickly started doing more things like tournament organizing, broadcast production. But like day one, when I knew nothing, a few of those folks, like I still rely on them, even where I'm at now. And I don't know where I'd be without them on those like tougher days. So like you said, I mean, it's great to have a club at your school, but then when you have this network of all these clubs, that's a whole like generation of folks going into the industry feeling empowered from the get-go because they have that support net, and that is just invaluable.
And seeing all those clubs that you mentioned pop up, Ivy, when we know that there are a lot of schools, especially schools that have a very large student population. Obviously, it's a little bit tougher when it's a smaller school. It's like 1,000, 2,000 students, but a lot of the larger schools have gaming clubs. And then seeing gaming clubs for marginalized genders at other schools pop up then could inspire those people to create their own, that it is possible, and recognize that wait, this network is around me, and maybe I could even reach out to one of the club leaders of one of the other groups and ask how they got started, or any pointers that they had for building a community. So, just yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say in terms of that. We've been talking a lot about just like the importance of being able to have that community to rely on, like you were saying, Kit. So, um, I was wondering, both for you, Ashley, and Juka, when you were first starting your content, did you have some kind of content mentor, or were you mainly learning it on your own? Because as we know, content creation is such a challenging field to get into, especially when learning the digital marketing, learning how to utilize algorithms correctly. So, what was that experience like for the two of you?
I wish I had a content manager. What is that life like? I learned it all on my own. You know, it first started off just being a cute little cozy hobby, just playing games with friends, and then I started building a community. I said, "Oh wait, maybe I'm actually good at this. I need to take this serious." So I just started to learn it all on my own, and mainly just focusing on my stream and then Discord activity after the stream. So it's not even that I focus more on marketing. I just focus on building relationships with my community more so than anything. So just having those intimate experiences with each other, playing games off stream, watching movies, whatever it may be, that's where I really became successful with growing my community. And of course, social media helps, but there was no kind of strategy I followed or anything. I was just myself and posted or post when I can and share with the world what I'm doing.
I love that. Yeah, my answer is going to be pretty similar to that. I'm actually part of a duo stream, so my stream is his and hers live, and it is what you expect. My husband is actually my duo. He is the his, I'm the hers, and we started the stream with him teaching me how to play games. He's always been a gamer. He played professionally in all sorts of games for the last 30 years. Like he is a gamer. It was actually a sore subject because I hated video games. I didn't like them at all. I never played them at all growing up. So 5 years ago when we started streaming, it was him teaching me how to play, and that's kind of how we started. And I'm very competitive, so he knew that no matter what, I would. If I'm going to continue to play it, I will do my best to be my best at it. But no, there's been no guidebook with content creation. A lot of it's been just trying to figure out what works. All right, we had a good stream this day. Okay, we didn't have a good stream this day. We're going to not do that again. We'll try this time. And we get a lot of enjoyment out of bringing people together. And that's why we started the tournaments. And we've hosted 300 tournaments, probably worth over $500,000 in cash prizes. A lot we've put in our own money into events. We've had the amazing opportunity to get hired to run other events. Sometimes we'll get hired to run the production because it's something that we just learned how to do ourselves, just the two of us. We have quite the studio set up. I'm very impressed with it. I don't understand how anything in here works really, but that's not my area, that's his. But I think it's amazing that we do have the ability to run the tournaments the way that we do, and it's something that no, there was no mentor, there's no guidebook. The creative freedom is endless, and it's just figuring out, okay, we want to host a tournament. We don't have a budget. We're going to try to put all the money we can to the prizes. So, all right, let me figure out how to produce. How do I cast a tournament? How do I organize a tournament? It's like you just got to figure it out yourself and start doing it. And then thankfully we started doing it and doing it well. And then we're getting hired to do stuff like that from other organizations. And it's just something you just got to try it and see what works. And then, yeah, I wish there was a guidebook. It would have been a little easier, but I'll try to share my experience, my positive things, what I've learned, and my failures at the same time. And hopefully maybe that can save someone a little bit of trouble if they're trying to do it themselves. But no, the creative freedom is endless with this career field.
Yeah, it's definitely a trial and error process, and it's also it is very challenging. So I mean, I commend both of you for your just like hard work and I mean stick to itiveness to keep with it, and it shows. It shows in both of your broadcasts and the tournaments that you're organizing. And Thank you both for sharing your experience there. I think it's definitely validating for people to hear who might be thinking about a career in content, or might be thinking about even how they could support maybe the content side of their club, their college club. So um, pivoting a bit away from content, one topic that I wanted to hit on definitely was talking about allyship. It's great to have, you know, obviously communities of people who are the same identity of you, but we recognize that it is a pretty male dominated industry in video games right now. And I mean, what I yeah, exactly, just kind of going back to that comment of what does, effective allyship look like in your opinion?
I think a lot of times when we're talking about allyship, there's a lot of big things that we suggest, but the little things, like there's the everyday things, really, really matter in allyship. It can be as simple as, I mean, the baseline would be just treating your fellow marginalized gender gamers with respect. The next level would be if you see someone getting harassed in game, maybe stick up for them, say, hey, dude, knock it off. That's not cool. You can quickly change the tide of a situation like that. If you're on a Valorant team, one dude's being a jerk, you have one person who's at the end of that bullying, you stand up for them, maybe someone else speaks out because you spoke out, and all of a sudden like 3 out of the 5 people in that team are on their side, and they'll feel supported, they'll feel welcome, you can hopefully go win your game. It really, really matters. Even things like just tuning into these tournaments. When we're trying to sell events, either sell to sponsors or talk developers into starting initiatives like this, viewership is so important. And every viewer counts. And I know that sounds like it's hard to picture yourself when it's like thousands of viewers being significant, but it really is. You just, even if it's on the background, telling your friends to tune in, maybe even just sharing posts on social media, it all makes a huge difference. We can bring those numbers to people and be like, people care about this. People see the value in this. Because there is real value, and it's just kind of talking people into it and hoping that they invest in it. So I'm sure you guys all have stuff to add, but I always like to focus on the little things too, just those everyday small tasks that you can do to continually support these initiatives.
Yeah, and I
You
think
said
that's
it perfectly, Kit. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
No, yeah. You said it perfectly, Kit. You nailed it down perfectly. But I think the first thing you really have to do is take action and make your spaces safe for marginalized individuals. So that could be the most simple ways of just introducing yourself at the beginning of your stream with your pronouns. It could be having pronouns for your inside of your Discord, or it could be on chat, whatever it may be. Just starting off, just making changes to your space so it's safe for others and they feel welcome. So make sure you're taking action, and then you have to learn. You don't know everything, so learn from different identifying people. All right, ask questions. I'm sure the queer folks here on this panel would love if you asked a question. Okay, instead of just assuming something or whatever it may be, you can ask for someone's pronouns. You can ask how they identify, and so forth. So make sure you are learning, and initially you have to listen. I think that's the biggest part. Just listen to my struggle and listen to how you can best support me. I think that is very crucial, because if you're not listening, how are you going to help me if you can't understand what I'm going through or how you can best support me? And just take a step back. I know a lot of people that are allies, they really want to take over that, whatever it may be. They want to take over the interaction or whatever is happening to a queer person or whatever it may be. But just step back, give that person space, let them explain themselves, talk, just listen. So I really think those are the main points. And really take the time to make your spaces safe for everybody to feel important and loved and invited to your space too. So those are my main points. But please just listen and give the space to those folks to share
Yeah.
their story and their experience.
I 100% agree with you, Ashley. I think everything that's been brought up so far by like Kit and Ashley, I think is very, very important. I think something that I could say at the very least is like taking action. Before we were CMGG, this club actually started out called Cal Women in Gaming, and we actually had individuals who were like non-binary or didn't exactly fit the definition of a woman who were in the server, and then a lot of our board members were like, we want they were like, you belong here, even if you don't necessarily feel like you are included under the like label of women. And that's why we like decided to rebrand. We're gonna call ourselves Cal Marginalized Genders in Gaming. And I feel like it's like these small things, as well as like as you mentioned, having pronoun roles. That's something we have in the server as well. Just so it's like a little easier. You don't have to like people aren't like assuming or guessing. You can just click on somebody and check what pronouns they prefer. And I think that's just like these small things that make others like feel welcome in the community is really important. And I think another thing that I've noticed a lot here, I think understanding like the difference in intention versus impact, I think is something that's like, really important here. Oftentimes we'll have people maybe like say something um, that maybe they didn't intend to hurt others. I think one example is I know in a server I'm in, some people don't really feel comfortable with the phrase e-girl, and then people will come in and be like, oh, I'm looking for e-girls. And they're like, hey, I don't really feel comfortable with that. And it's like, this person, I think it's just understanding, even if you didn't intend to hurt somebody, if the impact was that you have hurt people, it's like understanding, you're like putting yourself aside and like listening to what others are saying. If others are saying, hey, you've hurt me, listening to like what they're saying and trying to understand what they're saying and then like correcting yourself instead of saying, oh, well, I didn't mean to do it, or like trying to justify. Because I think in the end, if someone has been hurt by your actions, it doesn't really matter too much what your intention was.
I think like two things to highlight between Ashley and Ivy. Like you both brought up listening and learning. I think allyship is not just like a one-stop thing. It is an ongoing thing. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Just always be listening, always be learning. It's okay to make a mistake. Just accept it and learn and improve. None of us are perfect. We're all learning to be better people every day. So as long as you're listening and learning, that's the most important thing.
Celebrating other women in the scene. You see, like I said, I'm going to connect with all the ladies on the panel here today, connecting and celebrating when you see their successes. If you see a sponsored post from another woman, or if they ended up getting, a deal, or, announcing a tournament, or just being vocal about your support, that's a very easy way where you can also be an ally too. Something as simple as liking a post. It's really that simple to help keep women and other marginalized genders in the forefront of this industry. And just the way you can do that is by power of social media and marketing and sharing and liking and commenting.
That kind of reminded me too, like one of the bigger things as well, if you have a position of power, whether it be in, a grassroots community, a college community, professional community, let's say you're looking for talent for a podcast. Just be aware of who you're suggesting. Are you suggesting the same people over and over? Mm-hmm. Does it happen to mostly be men? Does it happen to mostly be, one cultural background? Is there a way you can change that? Just being aware the talent is out there. There's always someone that wants to get involved. I know we actually put together in Galahad, we put together a talent directory of women and non-binary casters and broadcast production observers, just because we kept talking to TOs and they're like, well, we don't know any women casters or non-binary casters. It's not like they're not out there. There's some incredibly talented individuals. So just be cognizant if you haven't already been incorporating them. If you're able to branch out and see who's in your community and try to get new people involved, just one opportunity even can make a huge difference in someone's life and career.
And esports is all about connections a lot of the time. Most professional industries, I mean, actually, definitely all industries are all about how you're able to network and grow your network, and then use that network to both elevate yourself, but also the people around you. So if within your network, right, you have somebody, or you recognize that you don't have somebody to represent either women, or a person of color, or so like a non-binary representative from the esports community, then they're on there on Twitter, or if you know one, you can ask them. Maybe they know somebody. So people in esports have really strong both talent and operational networks, I feel like. So going off of Kit's point, sometimes it's just as easy as sending a DM, and that could lead to bringing your broadcast to the next level, bringing your content to the next level, whether it's, again, a grassroots tournament, or it's something at the level of VCT Game Changers, or just Valorant Champions in general. I'm an Apex player, so if I got that name wrong, then don't at me. But yeah, that's some really great points, just all around from all of our panelists, and it's I feel like it's a discussion that's really necessary to have, because it is not something that can just happen overnight. It's a process, and it's a lifestyle change, and it is something that's very doable. So I'm glad that it's something that we got to talk about here, because it's really important. And going off of that as well, I wanted to talk about just the relationships themselves between game developers and tournament organizers, and just even esports leagues and organizations that are either marginalized, gender focused grassroots organizations, or some of the initiatives that we've talked about today, like Calling All Heroes. How have we seen that relationship grow and evolve, and where do we kind of see that going forward and evolving over the next few years?
So I mean, as far as Apex goes, it's kind of been on us and the other creators and our responsibility to find other sponsors. I haven't seen any support from Apex side from the tournaments that we're running, but they have a lot of stuff going on, and they have funded and organized, and I'm sure helped supported other events. But I personally can't really speak on that topic. I haven't seen that from the game developer side yet, but I hope to someday have something, at least Apex could say, wow, we see what you've done for women. We would love to sponsor a tournament, or put you in contact with some of our sponsors for the work, the efforts for women in gaming. But no, we haven't quite seen that yet, but we're working on it. That's the goal.
I think the more of these initiatives that exist, the stronger they all are. Like I mentioned earlier, that a lot of these things are kind of case studies. I mean, Valorant was probably, for example, looking at ESL Impact with CSGO, which had a long history of supporting and platforming women. And then Game Changers started and kind of blew up, and a lot of companies took notice. And then we had Overwatch starting Calling All Heroes shortly after that. So we're watching the ripple effect happen right now. And I know we've definitely spoken to a lot of other developers who are interested in starting things, whether it be something small. We always offer, even if it's just a one-off tournament, or a series, whatever we can support, however we can support different gaming communities and women in those gaming communities. There's a lot of interest. Again, it's selling those events. So again, keep supporting. It really means a lot. But I'm hopeful that these initiatives will continue to grow. More games will invest into it. The return on investment is there. You get to expand your audience, put your game in front of new eyes on broadcasts that maybe weren't watching earlier, weren't paying attention. It's worth it. You're making change in the lives of women as well, and other marginalized genders as well. So yeah, I'm really, really hopeful. I'm in a really optimistic state personally, and I hope in the next few years we see a lot more of these initiatives popping up, or ones that already exist get further supported.
Yeah, at the very least on the game developer side of things, I think just in general, like the industry and the market is really rough right now, and I know there's a lot of companies, at least from what I've seen, have been pulling away from collegiate, like whether that's like dropping sponsors, or like maybe no longer offering as much like prizing. But I think from what I have seen, there definitely are still some companies. I think just to name them, I'm part of the game design and development club here at Berkeley, and recently they had a collaboration with Roblox where they brought in a couple of people from Roblox, and I think they also had one with Quizlet where they brought people in just to talk a little bit about what it's like in the game development scene. I know we've been reached out to a couple of times by like gaming companies. If it's like just game developers, even if it's not a company, I think game developers getting involved in programs like the CMDG mentorship program or just in general offering up mentorship, I think is like a really easy way for like an individual just to get involved and get out there. But I think like in terms of companies, at least for game development, I think just like bringing representatives to come in and come talk about what it's like working in the industry or help students network. I think I know right now again like the market and just the game industry is going through a lot, but I think like still making sure to invest in like collegiate I think is really important because these are like the next wave of like people coming into the industry, the next wave of game developers, and I think investing early is like always a really good idea.
I agree. You all said it perfectly.
And something else that I want to touch on there, Kit, was I know you recently were a part of the and are heavily involved with the 1,000 Dreams Fund as well. So you just completed. There was a broadcast. Her, I believe it was a program that was. I can't remember if it was a mentorship or if it was a just a week long kind of workshop.
It's actually a year-long fellowship. It is incredible. I'm still in it for the 2023 year. So 1,000 Dreams Fund, for those of you who don't know, is a nonprofit that supports women and femmes in a ton of different areas. They've got amazing programs to support up-and-coming content creators, folks looking to get into all different sorts of areas in esports, just gaming careers in general. They also have amazing scholarships and everything for like other STEM careers, music, all different types of stuff. So if you are a woman or especially at the college level, I really recommend looking into them. Their broadcast tour program is amazing. They have grants outside of the fellowship, I think up to $1,500 that you can apply for to upgrade your gaming PC, whatever you need to continue your gaming esports content creation journey. The fellowship includes a grant for $1,000, and they also fly you out to the HyperX Arena in Las Vegas, and you spend the day getting to meet the staff there. You get to be a part of an event. There's a bunch of guests that come to speak to you. It was so exciting and such an amazing experience to connect with so many women in person and to learn from the mentors that they brought us. I cannot recommend enough. Just check them out. They're so worth it. They have a Discord as well. There's so many opportunities through them to get support for whatever you want to do in gaming. And of course, if anyone has any questions about that, also feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to connect you with the right people if you're interested in that.
And
I was
Ashley,
also a broadcaster recipient, so
Oh,
I
yay.
love
Yes.
1,000 Dreams
You're the
Fund.
best.
They are the best. I was funded in 2020 or 2019, and I was able to upgrade my PC and buy an ergonomic chair and a new desk. So
Amazing.
yeah, they're the best, and
It's such a game
I would not
changer.
be here. I would not be here without them. Kayla over there and Christy, I adore them so much. They do
They're
so much for
amazing.
this industry.
Yeah. I mean, that's another network. Again, every network you can get involved in with like-minded individuals, people who have the same experiences with you. It is such a game changer. Every community like that I'm a part of, I value so deeply, and 1,000 Dreams Fund is really towards the top of my list. I cannot recommend enough just getting involved with them, or at least following them on socials to know what sort of opportunities are popping up.
Yes, and you can fundraise for them as well with your community. So, Juka, if you ever want to host a tournament, supporting 1,000 Dreams Fund, that's That's a good idea. I'm throwing your way.
Yeah, no, this has been educational for me as well. And like I said, I've my stuff has been so grassroots. It's been, what do I want to do, or how can I make a change? And something that I'm working on personally is expanding and networking with other women in the community and learning about these areas. And this is so amazing. There's more people that are doing this and have done it for longer and better and have it figured out and have organizations with it. And I'm making notes.
I got you.
And Kay, I also saw recently that you joined a guild at Twitch, if that's correct.
Yeah, I did. I'm not sure if anyone else on the panel is a member, but I joined the Twitch Women's Guild.
I'm in that.
And
Yep.
yeah, okay, perfect. I was hoping that you guys were in there. Yeah, I only joined, I think, like on Wednesday, like just the past few days. And I have been blown away by how welcoming of a space it is. It's a mix of Twitch partners and affiliates. Everyone's learning from each other. There's like threads on every topic you can possibly imagine in there. Again, every community you can get involved with, go for it. There's no such thing as having too many support systems in this industry. And the best way to learn is from your colleagues and your peers. So get as many colleagues and peers as you can. I am just sitting there watching all these experts because I love supporting content creators and running events, but I am by no means an expert content creator myself. I prefer to be a behind the scenes person. So I'm so excited to have this opportunity to learn from these people that, again, do it way better than I could ever do it. Yeah, I think applications are open, so I would really recommend applying if you are a woman identifying person. There's also the Black Guild and Latin Guild. I think those are the three that they have right now. Yeah, so the Twitch Unity Guilds, I think that's the page you'll want to look up if you're interested in getting involved with those. Highly recommend it.
I feel like that's one of the greatest benefits of these groups popping up as well is that you start to have you start to build a knowledge base, and you start to build the collections of resources that you can share, and other people can learn from, who are at the start of their career or even are much further into their career and just might not know about it. Because as we know, the network of esports is so vast and covers such a wide variety of disciplines and skills that it's impossible to know it all. So I feel like that's something really cool that's going to definitely empower the next generation of talent, whether it be on camera or behind the scenes or on the stage playing.
Absolutely. I mean, you said it. Like, I laugh at myself sometimes because I kind of turned into a jack of all trades and a master of none. And that used to stress me out. But then I figured out project management is a career, and that's where you wear 200 hats at a time. And I was like, that's perfect. So I'm going to stick in this position as long as I can. But because of that, I know a little bit about a lot of things. So I'm often relying on my friends, peers, and colleagues who have more stricter focuses and are experts at those things. Just echoing what you said, build that network. It will come in handy. I can guarantee you.
Yeah, I feel like just having so much access to information now with the internet, and being able to then refine all that knowledge, like you're saying, and is really is something that's really cool that we've been seeing going on, especially whether that be through the Twitch program, or if that be just through the workshops that might be provided by some of these groups as well, and then the VODs themselves, right? Because a lot of the organizations are then posting panels, whether it be something like this or something that's specifically targeted for one discipline. You can go on YouTube and you can look up and start to see that information that's being shared there, and maybe not because you still have to look for it, but then it is there and it is possible for you to learn it. That's the main point that I'm getting at. So yeah. One other thing that I wanted to bring up as well as a part of this panel was just kind of, we've been talking a lot about the different skills that you learn. And again, there's that focus on the actual gameplay skill of the players, but what are some skills that you have gained over the course of your career that maybe aren't as, I guess, upfront as, or maybe they're more behind the scenes than, either appearing on camera or being just a god at the game?
I guess I would say communication. We are always improving our communication every day, but patience, patience with myself in everything that I do, and with others too. We have to be more kind to ourselves. We have to. Especially in the last 2 years, it's been rough mentally, and being at home with the pandemic and everything. Just be more gentle with yourself and realize that you are human. Yes, we are creators and we have work to do, but some days you have to disconnect and just rest. So, those are the main two things I've learned, just being kind to myself, because this industry can be overwhelming and you can get so involved and forget about your own needs.
Yeah, hitting on what Ashley said there, burnout is definitely a real thing and something that when you are in especially if you are a creator, you have a camera on you all the time, you feel the need to post everything that you do things because you need to post about them, and that kind of endless cycle of just forgetting to live your own life outside of your content creation is something that I personally am struggling with and working on. And I changed my career. I had a 10-year plus career in finance and in mortgages, and completely changed that to focus on content creation. So I've put my all into this over the last 5 years, but my life has changed completely so much so over the last couple of years, and just learning how to balance that and this new me and this new industry, and has been something that I personally am working on. I'm working on it. I'm not great at it yet, but I am working on that.
Yeah, we're all working on it. There's no perfect step-by-step list how to deal with it, but I'm thinking of you and you're not alone. I can tell you that, if that makes you feel better.
It
You're
does.
not alone, and it's a struggle, but we put our all into our communities, and I know they appreciate it. Our communities also realize that we need to rest too. I know my community yells at me all the time.
Yeah.
You don't need to stream today, just go to sleep. I'm like, all right, I will do that. Thank you for validating how I feel. But yeah, just be kind to yourself and communicate. And that ties in with your community. Communicate to your community how you're feeling. Of course, set boundaries. I think that's important too. But yeah, you just got to communicate, tell people how you're feeling. And I think the people that are closest to you, sometimes they can realize that something is offsetting with you. I know my mom is like, you seem a little burnt out. Why haven't you gone live yet? I'm like, oh, I was supposed to go live at 7.
Yeah.
It's 7:40. I just haven't hit that go live button. I'm like, yeah, I am a little bit. Well, take a break, Ash. I said, okay. Sometimes you need someone to tell you to reassure you.
That's so real. I definitely have those friends who, like, there's an unspoken, like, we'll kindly call each other out because we're both the type of people that will work until we burn ourselves out. And I think those friendships are really the best. I mean, you guys said it perfectly, but I guess one thing to add, bouncing off of that, I also changed careers. I used to be a music teacher. Taught middle and high school music, and then just took a hard pivot into gaming.
Nice.
So there was a lot of learning that came with that. Very humbling experience for sure. And I think one thing, especially for college students going into any career, failure is inevitable. It's not like you're a failure, but you're going to fail one day or feel like you're failing. Um, it's just going to be a blip in your timeline at some point. When you look back on it, it doesn't mean it needs to stop your progress. Just take it as a learning experience. There's always something you can learn from a failure, and then you GG go next. And it's easier said than done sometimes. Sometimes those failures really sting, but it's so important to stay humble and keep working hard. Things will work out for you. If you aren't going into the industry humble, it will humble you. So if you hit a hard spot, don't take it too harshly. It's always it'll always pass.
Yeah, I guess I'm just adding on to what everyone's been saying. Everyone here has already like done a very good job talking about this. I'm also like still a student, so I'll definitely keep that in mind. But at least from what I've seen in my time already, like being co-president or just being involved in the gaming scene here, I think communication is definitely a big one. I think for me, I see that communication and reaching out to others. I think this year for CMGG, we're trying to do a lot bigger events. We're trying to collab with people more, and that's a lot of like reaching out to people or like talking to them, or just like asking like, "Hey, this is something really cool that you're doing. How did you do it? If you could tell me more about that." Or just in general, like networking, like cold emailing people or messaging people. I remember this a lot of times, even just like setting up like little coffee chats with like people I know. Of like, I get so nervous. I'm like, oh my gosh. But I think, yeah, I think also just taking this is something I'm still working on, but like making sure to like take time for yourself as well. I remember there's definitely been days where I'll just spend hours working on stuff I have to do for CMGG. I'll just be like bogged down at work because like just remembering to like, I think realizing that like you're burning out and then like stepping away from things and then like just trying to focus on like just like getting through the day or just like trying to make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Self-care is really important. You heard it from everybody here, and I mean, I'm just gonna plus one that. There's nothing else I can say about that. And I feel like for me personally, managing my time is, that's again branching off of what everybody was saying. But once you find your own system that works for you, then it will change you forever. I feel like a lot of people, they might push like the latest, whether that be calendar app or planning, or however my aesthetic it might be, sharing your Notion page. But if it works for you, and you're able to get through your day and what you need to do in a way that works for you, then I feel like that's really important, and that's something that is invaluable, is figuring out how you work, because you don't work the same as other people, and what works for somebody may not work for you. And we have a little bit of time left, so I wanted to see if there are any questions in the chat. So if you have any questions for any of our panelists, then feel free to drop it in there. But up next, we are going to have, I believe it is UW versus Cal
Cal.
Esports.
Mm-hmm.
And that will be our grand final for today. That will be the match for the trophy. So you're not going to want to miss that. And I'm going to give it just a little bit more time in the chat. It's totally okay. I know we've touched on a lot of subjects here, and I hope that the insight that all of our panelists were able to provide is helps you along your esports journey, whether that be or game dev journey. That's something that we talked about as well. So with that, I believe we're just going to go to a break, and then hit that grand finals game, and that's going to be the something that you don't want to miss. So thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Thank you for all of our panelists.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.